Hello, Dagwe. My name is Sana Cody, and I'm a Taino indigenous person from Borinquen. Daca Taino Borinquena. Borinquen means Puerto Rico in the Spanish language or in the English language, Puerto Rico, but the original name of the island is Borinquen. I am Boricua as well, or indigenous person from Borinquen. And I have to thank Jennifer for introducing me to you all and giving me this opportunity to speak on the culture. So thank you so much, niece. And I want to just share a little words about what is Taino. I'm wearing a traditional headdress, which is influenced from the natives from South America. 5,000 years ago, the migration began from South America, Central America, and North America. So basically, 20,000 years when the first indigenous peoples in North America, that a lot of archaeologists call the Clovis culture, they started migrating down south. Now, there were also many indigenous tribes from South America as well, so they were migrating north, and many from Central America were migrating from west to east. So the Caribbean islands for a good 7,000 years was a merger of all these different indigenous traditions, who we call today the Mayan people from Central America and also from Mexico, the Mexica, and then we have also the South American natives, for example, the Arawaks, the Kalinago, that migrated from South America. Now you can just imagine all of these cultures, all of these indigenous peoples with their own different languages. It took good a good 3,000 years to form what we know as the Taino culture or indigenous Caribbean culture, and that blossomed around 1,000 Common Era CE or AD, and the Taino culture just blew up what we call Borinquen or in Puerto Rico, and then it spread to the Dominican Republic or traditionally we call Quisqueya or Haiti. Okay, so this culture, this in this powerful migration stories from remember 7 to 5,000 years BC all the way up until the 1,000 Common Era, a new language was created, which we call the Taino language, which has influence of the Maya, have the influence from the Arawaks in the south. Okay, very powerful. And these are the people that encountered Christopher Columbus. So the European invasion, and that's what we call it, an invasion, because it was not friendly. Um, the smallpox decimated our communities for the first 100 years. But thankfully, due to the technology that my people, the Taino, and also other indigenous peoples like the Mayan, the Arawaks, and so on, we were able to create medicines that today, to this day, the pharmaceutical companies, they search for these plants in the Amazon or in the Caribbean. So our ancestors, my ancestors, the Taino, had this technology. So we used it, and this is why we are still here. Tak toka Taino. I am a Taino. So it's very important for all you out there, don't listen to those history books, outdated history books that says that the Taino were exterminated after the invasion, or as the books say, the discovery of the Americas. No, no. Through our eyes, it was an invasion. But thankfully, for many communities that are still active as Taino, we try to focus on the positive, that we are still here, our medicine is still here, many of our traditions, even the diet, the common Caribbean diet of yuca, batata, aguacate, fish protein diet, all of that stems from the Taino. If you think of a canoe, that was us. We created these canoes that Europe for the first time encountered them. We used to fit 100 people in our canoes. When you think of the a ball game, We had a ball game called a batu, very similar to volleyball and now present soccer. So all these traditions, the dance styles, many Caribbean people are noted as being very are dance savvy, merengue, salsa. Well, guess what? The Taino culture, our foundation of ceremonies is the dance. We used to love to dance. We still love to dance. So we still have that spirit. So it's very important to understand that the Taino culture is alive and well. It was not exterminated, even though, and I want to show you something, even though as the Lakotas mentioned, the Wasishus came, the greedy people, they came to our lands. And this is a replica of an original helmet that was worn by, in history, they call them conquistadors, the conquerors. But they did not conquer anything. Why? Because we're still here and they are not. Presently, we are fighting many diseases like alcoholism, drug addiction, which came with the colonizers. And we're still trying to use our medicines. We're trying to try our best to help the people to let go of those poisons. So even though the smallpox is not around, we still have alcoholism, we still have drug addiction in our communities, womenizing, missing women and children, murders. It's still part of our society, but we're trying our best to do what we can to keep the culture alive. And right now, I just want to take my panucho or my headdress. So many Taino, like myself, we're very modern. We are rooted. Many of us are social workers. Many of us work in retail. Many of us work in clubs, firefighters, you name it. We are there. We're a living people, and we're also fighting for the politics, trying to save the rainforest, the Yunque, trying to save the farms, and so on. And we're trying to educate the children. Just want to share one song with you all. It's called a Taino Calling song. If anyone out there who's Taino who wants to reconnect, maybe you want to connect with your own culture. It's very important. The words are Okama, listen, and then I'm invoking the powers, the sacred powers that to bless us. Taino Ti, to bless us. Okama, Okama, Atabe yokahuama. O Taino Ti, O Taino Ti, Atabe yokahuama. So that's the Taino Calling song. Raise your hand if you're Taino. Your family's waiting for you. You're not alone. And guess what?